The aim of this tremendous national effort was to preserve freedom and democracy in Czechoslovakia, peace and order in Europe by standing firm against the threats of fascism. On September 23rd, there was hope that the United Democracies would save the peace, and Czechoslovakia by forcing Hitler to abandon his threatened invasion. Hitler summoned Chamberlain and Daladier to Munich on Thursday, September 29th. So long as the Western democracies' leaders had stood firm, as in the May crisis, there was neither war nor surrender. But this time, they flew to obey. The fascist powers did not win their battles by actual force, but by issuing their orders with confidence. The Prime Minister of Italy and Duce del Fascismo, founder of the fascist philosophy, obeyed the call from the German disciple who was now his master. In the meeting at Munich, Czechoslovakia was not even represented. Neither was Soviet Russia, the only great power in Europe which on this day stood ready to stand by Czechoslovakia. Neither were the peoples nor the parliaments of France and England. When the Prime Minister of Great Britain climbed the steps of the Führerbau at Munich, the monument erected to Hitler's glory, he went to take orders from the dictator whose aim, openly written in Mein Kampf, was to assure fascist mastery of Europe and the eventual destruction of world democracy. In this room, Hitler and his friend Goering presented the Western democracies with a map. They demanded parts of Czechoslovakia in which an arguable majority spoke German, along with hundreds of thousands of Czechs and Slovaks. The map was so drawn that not one line of defense fortifications remained completely in the hands of the Czechoslovak Republic. It was the murder of Czechoslovakia as a nation, the destruction of the French security system, and the opening of all southeastern Europe to Nazi domination. In Prague, betrayed and abandoned, the Czechs had no recourse against the Munich powers. They could only yield and submit to every fascist claim. Under Hitler's pressure, President Beneš was forced to resign his office to make way for a government that would take orders from Berlin. I have always been a Democrat, Beneš said, and in this new order of things, I would only be in the way. The last demonstration of the broken-hearted people of Prague after the surrenders at Munich showed that thousands still had the will to resist, but in vain. Leaderless and betrayed, they could not stand against the Munich powers. Millions like them, bewildered and stunned with shock, were transferred to Germany, to Poland, and to Hungary, to become minorities within minorities within minorities at Hitler's will. The triumph of Hitler was complete on the day he had set for it. On October 1st, Reichswehr troops entered Czechoslovakia without the consultations of the powers. Without exact maps or definite agreements of any kind, and without provisions to protect the Sudeten Democrats or the new Czech and Slovak minorities, the German army rolled into the country and imprinted the swastika upon what had been a free, representative republic. The peoples of Czechoslovakia returned to serfdom, this time under Nazi Berlin rather than Habsburg Vienna. The German army advanced through zone after zone, generally passing beyond the limits set in Hitler's ultimatum to Chamberlain and Daladier. The Western democracies have sacrificed their prestige. The human race itself is impoverished and humiliated by these events. Victims of the Nazis are still the refugees. In hunger and bitter cold, without shelter and with no place on this earth to go, they live on. The rejected of the great men of Munich. These are the results of the deal at Munich. These are the first victims of fascism. These are the immediate consequences of yielding to fascist threats of force and violence. The only hope life has to offer is that in other lands there may still be men who do not tremble and obey when Adolf Hitler cracks the whip. Peace and freedom and the right to live. They can only be possible in countries where men are determined that the swastika shall not be raised in triumph. Where the pages of Mein Kampf can never become our supreme law.